Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network. Welcome back to Repo. I'm Michael, your Bougie Black Brother, and here's our second half of our elections, votes, and net neutrality. So one of the things I think people are so confused with, just like taxes, is what the FCC did with net neutrality. And I think most people don't know because the name sounds so fucking stupid. What does net neutrality? So the internet is like neutral, so we want to keep it neutral. No, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. And a lot of people just haven't been able to understand what it means. So I pulled it up really quick before we get into it. And net neutrality, the principle that internet service providers should enable access to all content and application regardless of the source, and without favoring or blocking particular products or websites.
Right.
That's just the definition.
Comcast has all the incentive in the world to block Netflix or to throttle
AT&T
Yeah.
and DirecTV, all of them.
Verizon.
So what people failing to understand is once you take this away, they're going to give the fast lanes to the people who are going to pay more money. And if the Netflix and the Hulus and all of them don't give me money, then they're going to say, I'm going to slow y'all down.
Well, are they going to say, don't give me money? Or are they going to say, you know what? We're going to automatically slow you
Cut
down.
you off.
And by default. Yeah, I mean, who's to say? Like,
They want to make money, though. It's not about slowing them. Now, if they say, hey, I'm going to give you the fast lane, but it's going to cost you this. So Netflix, in order for you to continue to stream at this rate, you're going to be paying us this.
Right.
Well, no, my people does that. Nope. So your people is going to get slowed down, and they're going to say, I can't even get Netflix no more. I'm going to find someone else to get my music.
Comcast Flix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what they have the ability to do that. So if you I forgot the name of the dude that was in charge. What an asshole. But he said this rule was put in place and they weren't doing anything wrong. So they was doing something and these companies weren't doing anything. And I'm like, that's bullshit because there's times that they caught AT&T and all of them slowing down the internet.
Right.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
It may not be a true process, but they do it. And then they get caught and go, well, no, I think it's the wiring and the Wi-Fi was just getting bad during that time.
Right.
They fucking slow you down.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I don't know how I feel about it either way. I agree that it should be neutral, and they obviously shouldn't be slowing down the internet at all. You know, like everyone should have. It should be like, you know, the water that comes into your house. It should be you have a pipe in your house. The water comes in, and and you control what comes in. You know, based on how you turn on the faucet or you want your water to come into your home. It's the same.
Unless
thing.
you live in Flint.
Oh, unless you live, and then you want to cut that off. But you know, that'd be the equivalent of bad internet. Period. So you would just have the option to get another kind of water, but you know, another kind of internet. So it's.
I got you.
I mean, so part of me is thinking that's the ideal scenario where you would just want free internet to come in. So I'm wondering if what happened is the minute we added net neutrality, which obviously forces companies that they can't. You have to basically have a neutral, what it really is the bandwidth just needs to be a reasonable average. You need to have a speed that doesn't change no matter whatever bandwidth, whatever they're using. So, you know, Verizon Fios can't cut me off because I'm using Google phone call because, you know, they want me to use their phone service, you know. Because right now, all I have is internet. I don't need their phone service because I could just use something else online and I can, you know, make a phone call. I think
Right.
I think what net neutrality is doing now is it's kind of slowing down our bandwidth overall. Yeah, I feel like there isn't much freedom. I'm talking about just freedom for cable companies to just go out and build and get faster internet and just push the envelope because I think what I don't think people are realizing is that other countries are outpacing the United States in terms of internet speeds. You have South Korea, you have
Mm-hmm.
Japan, you have actually a lot of Asian countries and
In Europe,
some in
a lot of
Europe,
places in
yeah,
Europe. Yeah.
that are just outpacing us just easily. And instead, you have companies in the United States that aren't pushing the envelope because of this, because they don't want to give everyone everything. They're trying to hold back and make them pay for more, which kind of kills my argument actually.
Yes. Yeah, it kind of does.
So
I saw you. I was like, where's he going? I think he's trying to
yeah.
take away his point, though.
Well, that's why I'm like I don't really I'm kind of I'm not indifferent. I don't know where I'm at here because I really do believe because I think the leader the whoever's in charge, I'll forget his name of the FCC that unfortunately Trump appointed. Um, his
I'm not sure.
argument is there was a time where the internet was just free. Like everyone, everything can do. Anyone can do anything. Companies can provide it, and then they can just build, build, build. And that was his argument that like, if you're just free, innovation is just going to happen because that's how businesses work. That's how technology works. And then once net neutrality happened, it made companies slow down, and they're not. There's no reason to speed things up because you're going to lose money that way. You know,
But
but yeah.
but the purpose of net neutrality when they put it in is
Hmm.
because they what's happened is like the Twitter, the Facebook, the all of these companies that are starting to say you're not putting it on regular band with
Hmm.
you have to have this faster bandwidth. So they're using more than the ordinary customer. But if I need to get on Facebook, they're gonna say Facebook will have to be on a higher costing bandwidth
Hmm.
because it's not like AT&T has tiers. It's not one cost for internet. It's the faster speed. You have to pay for faster speed. So thank you. I'm paying for the fastest speed. You should not slow my damn speed down. Whatever
Hmm.
speed I have, I should have access to everything at that speed.
Hmm.
Net neutrality made them say you can't slow them down, and whoever's giving the it coming in, it's going to be the same thing. But when you take that away from them, they can say, "Yeah, I got you fast coming out, but you can't get it in because Netflix isn't paying me, or Facebook isn't paying me." Everything is going to a Wi-Fi based system.
Hmm.
So, like you said, phone calls and all. That guy name is
Hmm.
Edget Pie. I call him Idiot Pie
Yeah.
because he was just.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? You fucking idiot.
I,
Well,
I'm,
do you so should if you guys were in charge? I mean, would you classify residential internet different versus internet as part of your cell phone, your smartphone bill versus, um, commercial, or would you just say everything
So
should be priced the
I
same?
kind of agree with that. I kind of say, you got business costs and you
mhm,
got, residential or whatever in that way. But I
yeah.
also think my Wi-Fi should be portable. So if I pay the one price, wherever I am, I should be able to have Wi-Fi because I'm paying you all the time. I'm not paying you
Hmm.
only when I'm home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
I'm
yeah. Oh
paying you
yeah.
all day long. So if I'm with AT&T, as long as I'm in an AT&T environment or somewhere, I should be able
Yeah.
to pick that up because I'm paying it, and it should be a portable system in that way. So I
Hmm.
always thought
Hmm.
that. But like you said, in these overseas markets, they just said, hey, look, get Wi Fi for everybody. Everybody has it. And we'll be able to create businesses around that. So we all have
Yeah.
that opportunity to grow businesses and use the internet as an infrastructure.
Hmm. Now let me change the way you're looking at this then. So, what if the internet was built the
Mm-hmm.
same way cable like like cable channels
Like
work.
a utility.
So, right, yeah. Well, okay, I mean more like Netflix has to pay Fios or Comcast. Um, I know, they hate that. Netflix hates that, but it doesn't get to the users. What's going on is obviously Netflix is using their internet to gain, to become a
Mm-hmm.
billion-dollar company. They're taking over Hollywood. I mean, Netflix is growing so big, and I don't have a problem with that. But what if what they're doing is, okay, look, I'm Comcast. I'm providing you that pipeline to go into all these homes. You know, you should be
Mm-hmm.
paying me. I'll give them the fastest internet. You're going to have the best no buffering is ever going to happen because we have that technology. But I need you to talk to me so that we can make that happen. And then what happens is that Comcast is fighting Fios, and then these cable
Mm-hmm.
companies end up, or these ISPs is what they call them, are end up getting more money. They end up growing to the point that boom, all of a sudden our infrastructure is a lot faster. We get high speed internet, and everyone has the gigabit connection or whatever they're calling it right now. All right. So you have to look at it like bigger, but I know what you're saying. I'm also like, but then again, I don't want them to raise my bill. I don't want them to cut off my
Mm-hmm.
internet because I use Google Hangouts for conference calls and it's free and I gotta pay AT&T whatever if I use that. So I hear both sides. So I don't really know where I'm at with this whole thing. I just feel both sides.
I want to mention two. I want to mention two things. One of the things I always hated, and as an adult, I don't know if I bothered to really understand it, but paying
Mm,
Comcast, TNT, USA, Lifetime, whatever channel you watch, I always hated the fact that I pay for these channels, quote unquote, but I'm still watching commercials.
mm-hmm.
So if I'm paying to access the channel, why? What is it? I guess why am I watching a commercial versus paying for HBO, no commercials?
Mm-hmm.
So I hear what you're saying. That it's kind of like, well, from their perspective, but I still feel like it's that same kind of thing where at the end of the day, who's it's kind of like regardless of whether Netflix is using their traffic or not. I mean, maybe they should have built better infrastructure in the first place.
But it doesn't matter
I don't
though,
know.
because you
I just
need them. You need the internet.
who
We
needs
need
who?
the internet to get Netflix. We need internet to work, like to for social media. It's growing so much that we know that we need the internet. That's just a fact now. Unfortunately, so they don't need to speed it up. Like that's just a fact, and that's why I think it's been slowing down, and we're getting outpaced as a country. How it's almost like I don't think people
Well,
ever
it's
realize
incentive.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone ever realized that at all. I don't know how often people look and you can see for free how fast your internet is. You can sit there and see it every single day, and you can jot down notes and see if they're actually getting the right speed every single day. But most people don't do
And you
that.
don't get the maximum
So
speed that you think you get consistently. You'll never get that.
yeah,
But then
No.
it's acceptable though. But
Well, only if you have fiber. But again, Google Fiber is not being rolled out as widely
it's
as we
about to.
thought. So
Watch. It's
where?
because Google is one of those companies that's going to get hurt by this, so they're going to have to create their own cable, their own internet service, because there was really no reason for them to do it. Because, think about it, Google is entirely developed off of the internet, like Amazon, like the Netflix. That's them. They're going to be charged to
Mhm.
use their. I mean, they're in charge of YouTube. I mean, they own YouTube,
data
so
hungry.
they can. If you Yeah, well, yeah, the Verizon don't have any connection with Google. They could be like, hey, look, like we got people looking at your YouTube Red. They're using your Chromecast. They're using all these
Mhm.
apps. I need, if you need me, you're killing me over here in Minnesota. I don't know. They love that whatever show, Fargo. I'm just making shit up. And then they're gonna be like, I need whatever billion
Mhm.
dollars per year for you in order to keep your
Right.
users happy. So what's up? I don't know. That's creating
So
business, but
let me give you all an
it's
example. So this is an article that I had. I made sure I brought it up. It said Comcast customers in 28 states face 1 terabyte data caps Going over the limit costs subscribers as much as
Yep.
an additional $50 a month. Now, here's the catch because technology keeps expanding. As 4K TVs become more common, more households may hit the limit quickly. That could prompt some to stick with a traditional pay TV package from guess who? Fucking Comcast. So what they're doing
Yeah,
is,
Comcast. That's my point.
now I don't have to. I'm
Incentive.
going to cut down all of these data hungry app places like the YouTubes because YouTube is now you can see regular TV on it. So they got that package there. Everybody wants their own little package, but once this net neutrality come in and you have to go through the Verizons, the Comcast, all of these, they're going to say, oh, I'm going to limit y'all. So I'm going to drive them to me and I'm going to keep them here because it's going to cost them less and they won't drop. They won't be able to say, damn, why is this going so slow? So you're driving customers by forcing them to do something different. And back to your TV, I mean, your commercial analogy, though, Chaz, that's why people go to Hulu and damn, what you call it, Netflix and all the rest of them, even Amazon. You don't have commercials. Now, but Hulu said, look, we hooking y'all up with no commercials. Now I'm going to have you pay more to not have commercials.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing right now, anyway.
I guess I'm struggling with the. Okay, they're the ISP, but and again, I want to look at it from the other side. The same analogy as Wall Street talking their shit. So Comcast can come talk their shit like, oh well, Netflix needs to do this and this, this and that. They've made so many deals with local cities, this and that, just to be the only option. They've done. I mean, talk about innovation or saying that they need, they want Netflix or other people to, just the option to earn more money. But on the other side, they've crippled the idea of competition. Like we have so many legal monopolies. Hey, I know we've all had this experience where you move in an apartment complex. Hey, what can I get? Because you already know. You either get DirecTV, Comcast. Hopefully, you're surprised if you can get both, depending on where you live. But it's usually like islands of monopolies.
Yeah.
So I just always feel like, I just don't. It's kind of like Eli Manning.
Oh,
Like
my
I don't.
God.
I
So
don't-
you win 2 Super Bowls, and I don't understand.
Yeah. And then, you
Right.
get old and you retire.
And then the new
Yeah,
thing
it's like,
comes.
look,
I
Yep.
do got that. I get that.
Yeah, like look, actually, you know what? Great analogy. So at a point, ISPs, I was like, oh my god, this or that is great. And then after a while, I was like, you know what? I don't want to pay $7 to rent a modem.
A month.
This Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi thing. I don't want to. Wait a minute, the speeds aren't getting faster, but what's going on with my bill? You mean every year I have to call because this introductory price and is going to get more expensive after that?
And you got to
Like double?
negotiate. And if you're not smart enough, back to what we were saying earlier, if you're not smart enough to read and research, you don't even realize you're paying for a modem. You thought you got it for free, and that's your bill.
Yeah.
I found out 6 months
Oh.
in that I was like, wait a minute. Are you kidding me? I brought my own modem. Well, it doesn't work. I had this for 6 months. How the hell are you going to tell me it doesn't work? I want all my damn money back.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want to forget this. In terms of the TV piece, Comcast doesn't even offer HD TV unless you have to rent their HD TV receiver. That's not for free. So it's kind of like, Eric, I get what you're saying, because you're saying, like, look, in terms of their business model, if they're the ISP, they're responsible for it. I'll put that on the federal government. I'm saying, like, well, at the end of the day, how about, there has to be some give and take. So how about we don't pay more, and then we say if they need assistance or whatever, then there needs to be a conversation around city governments. I actually feel like I'm kind of more on the other side of public utilities, saying internet at this point is a utility. It needs to be major cities should have like their own ISP. They're the ones who have a city has permits. They can do their own codes. They're the bureaucracy. A private company has to deal with all that. But if you're the government, You
You
just
gotta
do
be
it.
careful with that though, because that's well, okay. I'm
Okay.
not saying that I disagree with that. I'm just saying there's two
Go
halves to
ahead.
this. There's the other side that doesn't want the government controlling things like that.
Yep.
I I get that. I'm thinking about the other side, which maybe
Hmm.
you have organization partner with the government to maybe do the rollout, and then someone else takes over it after that. So I don't know how you would do it, but at least for the infrastructure, laying down the pieces,
Like
that can
electricity,
be. I think that should be done.
like you know.
Um,
But isn't that private
yeah,
companies
yeah.
though?
Just
Like,
because.
It is. But see, here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to what you said, Chaz. I'm in Gwinnett County,
Yeah,
and in Gwinnett County, I can only get Gwinnett water. I can't get water from anywhere else. I got to
yeah.
get Gwinnett gas. I can't get any gas from anywhere else. Georgia
but
Power,
why?
because it's in this region, they don't allow anybody else for you to be able to get gas or water from because
Hmm.
they the one who supply it for this county. And I'm like, that's bullshit. What if
Yeah.
someone is lower? Doesn't matter. You only get it from us. There's no way they're going to allow anyone else in there. So that's that
Hmm.
bureaucracy right there that the government says, we're going to control your rates and keep them at a lower rate. That's not necessarily
Yeah,
true.
that's on.
But
Yeah.
when you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice, you know, because I think South Atlanta has Scania as well. So, there's other companies that you can use.
True
Yeah.
natural gas. Shout out. Great rates.
I feel like you have options when you take out net neutrality. I think it creates more options because you just brought a good point earlier, like when you brought up Google Fiber.
Hmm.
It it makes it so that these internet companies or I'm sorry, these companies that are based off of are solely relying on the internet, they need to
Hmm.
start jumping into the infrastructure world. They need to start providing internet if that's what they're relying on. If that's the route they want to go, that's what they and that's more
Yeah,
options.
I think Netflix. Yeah, I think Netflix is probably already has that whiteboarded, and depending on how real the shit gets, they're probably gonna execute that plan. They're gonna see little Netflix vans rolling
I
around, and they're gonna be,
I
building that shit
think it's
out.
Google. I think Google's the next one because they already have. See, here's what's going on. People are cutting their cable. People don't want to go to Comcast. They don't want to go to Verizon Files or whoever else out
Hmm.
there to watch,
Unnecessary
whatever
shows.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got like 1,000 channels, but
Hmm.
they only watch
Yeah.
5. Like nobody wants to do all that. So what's going on is you have
Yeah.
Google that now spit out YouTube TV, which is really good, by the way.
So
YouTube
you tried that
TV.
already?
It's yeah. It's the best one out there, by the
Wow.
way.
Okay.
So I'm actually I experimented and all
Ah,
that. I did. I cut
yeah.
the cable when I got the new house over the summer.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
experiment. I mean, they all have free trials, so you can go out there and test all of them.
Okay.
There's so you have these companies that are relying on the internet, like Sling, which is what I've used
Uh huh.
because they have NFL Red Zone, but that's a whole nother
Uh,
topic. You know, some of them don't have that though, but that's a whole nother thing. You got
hmm.
Hulu that's building up on their live TV. You got Direct
Yep.
Now, which is AT&T. They bought
Yep. So they're
DirecTV,
using that.
so
Yep.
yeah, right. So they're making you cut the cable. Also cut satellite, which is I don't know what that's about. And then you have there's what's called Fubo TV. By the way, I think it's an international company trying to come in and take
So is that
away, to take
for
advantage of
us,
that.
by
Hmm.
us? Oh,
That's
that's
good. It's with
football.
an O. Football, like foot. I think it's a football, like soccer international
Oh,
thing, and then they just start
football.
adding
Football.
shit to the
Uh,
yeah,
Football. Yeah. I'm
football.
sorry.
And then what's the other? Then there's PS Vue, PlayStation Vue. They're getting in there now, and so there's like a handful, maybe like 6 or 7 actually, that are just taking advantage of this whole cable cutting thing.
Yeah. Comcast is like they're the
Yeah,
worst.
and
But they're an
it's
ISP
that's what
I
they
provider.
you know
That's why they
hmm
say you may not get our cable, but you're still gonna need me for your
hmm
right.
cable. Yeah.
they're in the
You
workflow.
know,
Yeah, you need them at one point. So it's. I mean, the only thing about YouTube. Do you have a free subscription to YouTube Red?
Mm, I have no idea about what that is. I know what it is.
Okay.
I don't. They're not selling me. Do they have movies? Like, is it good?
No, YouTube Red is the music.
Oh, I thought it
So
was
No, they got
movies.
they
I
uh,
don't
got
know.
movies and like TV shows. Yeah, so that's that red.
Okay, it's
yeah,
like Netflix
Yeah.
originals or that
So
kind of thing.
Netflix is
They do
is
their own.
is branching out and allowing them to do like major movies and stuff as well. But
Right.
Netflix movies are on like Amazon and Hulu as well because that's original content that they making their own shows and movies, and then they're saying, okay, we'll play it on Hulu or we'll play it on Amazon. Same thing with the other ones. So I
Right.
think there's a lot more we got to wait and see on. But based on the
Yeah.
FCC, they said we're going to take it away and we're going to watch them to make sure they don't do it. But I think as the prices
Right.
go up and things started happening, then they're going to stop it. But they're already going to get a percentage that they already made money off, and they're going to put a block on it. So if they increase everybody by like $10, and then they start complaining over the next 6 to 8 months, and it goes up $2 more, and then they say, well, we're going to put a freeze on it. They already made a $12 profit per. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm thinking
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
we still as consumers going to lose because they're going to inch it up, and the lawyers and everything is going to start saying based on, and then once it gets to a point, they're going to like, yo, we told you this shit was going to happen, and then the FCC is going to, maybe a Democrat will be in and say, see, this was bullshit from the beginning. That's why it was put in place. But I understand what
yeah.
you're saying, though, Ari. I do understand what you're
Or
saying because they need to be better. That's what you're saying.
yeah, but right, right, yeah. Well, I'm talking about the infrastructure,
Needs to be
the
better.
speed in general, the technology in this country when it comes to internet. We should be better. We should be number one. I mean, but that's just the biased American in me talking. But there's no reason why we should be where we are right now. We should be much better than where we are. But
But it's
that's
based
a
on
whole
money,
nother
though.
thing.
But it's based on money.
Yeah,
Think about
and
the
I
cell
think.
phones.
Mhm, mhm.
If it wasn't for, you know, um, Apple with the iPhone 7, we would have never moved away from the flip phone. They would have
Right.
inched their way up. They would have inched up slowly but surely and try to continue to fleece the customer because, oh, that's the only thing that's popular. Oh, that's the only innovative shit that they have. And we will be inching up. But because of Apple leaps and bounds doing things, it caused Samsung to get better. It caused Google to get better. It caused Amazon to be who they are right now. So innovation, produces other innovation. So in
Right.
this case, they're just keep things as slow as possible and fleecing us as often as possible.
Right. Wait, just so I understand. So that's agreeing with what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Because that's what I'm saying. We're pushing the envelope right
Yeah.
now. That's kind of the way I'm
Right.
looking at that too.
But I'm thinking they doing it
In a fucked
'cause the
up
guy's
way.
a Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing it like we're just going to give these big businesses what they want, which
And see
is
what
to
happens.
slow down these liberal California startups and app people. Get them to pay for it. They just making apps for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And making millions of dollars. So let's tax them to be able to say, if you want your app or whatever on the internet, we're going to be able to charge you in that way.
and again, I want to go back to talking about Republicans. So if I'm, I guess, and again, a voter. So when I think about this, I'm thinking about this from a perspective of I always thought Republicans always, again, private sector, small government regulation. So kind of like Mike is saying, well, why is my county, my city only allowing one person in? That's too much. That's too much government regulation. Versus on the other side, why is my city, my county, my apartment complex only allowed to have to deal with
hate that shit.
one, one ISP? That's like why is the government? That's crazy government regulation on the other side. So when I think about this, I'm like, why? I mean, it would solve itself if they were actually forced to compete. but because they're not, and there's I don't want to say collusion, but I mean it's kind of like an airline thing
Mhm.
or whatever, where it's like, all right, you're gonna fly this route, all right, cool.
The,
So we
the
won't have to
sky
agree
is
on
free.
price.
Anybody can fly up there. Nobody's controlling it. You know. It's kind of,
Well, it's
Well,
not
I
really
mean,
free.
well, not if, not if after X amount of mergers and it's like, hey, I got this route, then we're just not going to compete with this. But it is like it's more like non-competes than collusion.
Right.
That's a bad word.
So,
It's
but
more so like,
you just said it
hey,
though. They buy each other out. So that's why I love John Oliver. He had a show on or a segment that showed how many airline companies they were over the last I think 10 years or so, and now how many
hmm
that they ate up and how many there's now.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's four
And
major
they
ones, I
ate up
believe. I mean,
so
Delta,
many
American,
American and
hmm
what was the other one? Delta, United, and
exactly.
I think Southwest
United,
is
yeah,
still there too. Yeah.
yeah. Those are the
And
big
they
four.
ate up all these other smaller ones because they said, look, we want to control the air of where we can fly to and where we restrict you from flying to because our hubs are in these sectors, even though your hubs is in these other sectors.
So yeah, and if they all do bag fees, if they all do
hmm
these things, then it's like you trying to. It was like when they dragged out Buddy. Oh, was that United? I forget which one, but they dragged
Hmm.
out Buddy on a plane. There was like a month
Delta,
or
yeah.
two where people just
Yeah.
fighting on planes
Just
and shit.
wilding
Right.
out for no odd reason other
Yeah,
than they making them sit on the sit on the damn runway and waiting, and they be like,
yeah.
"Yo,"
So it's
and
like
we overbooked, so get your ass
you
out.
know, yeah, get your. So if you want to protest, it's like what you really
hmm
gonna do? You know, it's not funny, but
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
it's it's just kind of like he's like, damn, I gotta fly back home. Well, we the only one who got that route. Ah,
hmm
shit.
They
All
were
right.
like, "Yep," and sit where we tell you to. But I paid for an aisle seat. If you don't sit there, get off. You're like,
hmm
"But I can't go home."
If not, all right, fight. We gonna fight.
Mortal Kombat.
So you
Fight.
know what I mean? Yeah. So it's what I said. Collusion is a bad word. It's more so just deciding not to compete, which means they get to control a certain segment. So it's more like having more predictable pricing. You can control your demand and your supply more so than you could if there was like a true free for all,
hmm
But it's the free
open
market,
market.
and that's where they always lean on and say, "Well, we're a country that the free market dictates what's fair and what's not."
Right.
Now, when you look at the rules, I mean, all legislation, all policies are rules, and some rules are gonna benefit more people than others. Versus,
Or
um, you know,
they benefit the people, and then some benefit the businesses. I think this one is for the
yeah,
businesses. This isn't for the people. This isn't. They don't make the internet. They don't get rid of net neutrality to help people.
No,
That's
no.
this is completely to create competition, whether it creates more options, whether it makes the internet faster or better. That's a wait and see. I'm betting that it makes the internet faster, but whether or not they raise the prices like crazy, you can't.
and that's the point, though. In my opinion, I think the prices are already too high, considering. I mean, this the lack of
hmm
infrastructure. Or like, how are they validating their prices? Because
The
it
market.
hasn't gotten to me especially faster, or it's like the modem that they bring you. I don't know how good that is. I personally would like my own. The router. I just, the whole situation to me is just
Yeah.
questionable.
By
It's,
the way,
it's.
the trick is to buy the. What I do is you buy the modem from the company
Mm-hmm.
because because you're going to be there for I'm guessing at least a year. You buy it up and then you don't have to pay monthly. And you just that's just I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's
Well, no, no, no. I know that. Well, that part is
people don't
easy.
know
It's
that
more
though.
so
Yeah,
having a
yeah,
good
that's
router.
true. That's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
true. Having so just I guess we'll do a quick tutorial. So when the part that goes into the
hmm
cable part that
Mm.
you plug into the modem, well that piece itself is a modem, and then from there, if you buy it yourself, it's a
hmm
cable modem. So that's what you search. And then the key is actually having a
Right.
good router. And a router is a connection to the modem, and that would actually broadcast the internet. That's what you said in AIM. That your house internet or your
Right.
Wi-Fi. And some has different bandwidths. Is it
Yeah.
bandwidth I'm thinking of? Different bands.
Or broad speed.
Yep. And how
You might see
fast?
5 gigahertz. Yeah. And then you might, yeah, so like a better, consistently have the speed. Sometimes, I don't know if you have a cheap one, it drops off. You gotta
Consistently.
unplug it,
Yep.
plug it back in. That's a
Reboot
pain.
with.
Yeah. So it's kind of like with this Comcast one, I'm seeing like drops, and this, and then, again, there's a lot of people in the house, but I'm like, well, why rent this one? It's gonna be some bullshit.
So
Yeah.
I
You know what
always
I'm
buy
saying?
my own router,
It's-
and
Mhm.
I found that if I have a separate modem with my router and not have the router with the modem within, it actually drops less. So I always look at the
Okay.
router. What's the best router to have for the services coming in? Because I got AT&T. So which is the best router for that? Got that. Now, which is the one if they charge me $7 to $12 a month? How can I get one that will serve me for less than 2 years? So I say, serve me for less than 2 years. I'll get one for about maybe a little over $100. It'll pay for itself, and then I'm done with that. So except for paying them, I own it. And they were like, "Whoa, you
Right.
won't get it." Look, I can pay Best Buy $20 on top of that, and if anything go wrong, they're gonna give me a new one. So I'm still covered in that way. But when I had the one that had
Yeah.
the modem with it, it kept going down. So if anything went wrong, it could have been it could have been the modem and not the router, or it was the router and not the modem. But when you have them separate, you can at least go, "Psh, there you go. Yep. And you can go from there.
You can troubleshoot. Yeah.
But when they have you pay for it, you're fucked. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. My download speed right now
Yeah.
is 195 Mbps. And my upload is 45. So I'm looking at this right now because I got my app.
Excellent.
I got my Wi-Fi
know
net.
what?
What? It's not the net, but I have like an extender all throughout the house, so I can get better internet in the small areas that drop, and so I can look at that on an app, and my speed is fine. But I know it's going to change in a couple of minutes because, my wife may be on a computer and then she's looking at Netflix, and I'm on the internet and I'm searching stuff on my iPad, and so all of this is eating away at my speed. And if I don't pay my bill closer to the time they want me to, that shit starts slowing down. Yeah, I saw it. And I was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And then my wife said, did you pay the bill?
Yeah.
I was like, it's not due yet. She said, did you pay the bill? I was like, oh, these motherfuckers is doing it again. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny when you said that. I was betting. I was like, you know what? I bet nobody looks at that. Nobody looks at their speed, and it's almost like it just clicked like a light bulb hit. That, like, what if there was just a website that was like, it just like people can report like gas prices. It just people could just say, hey, I was on Netflix. My shit slowed down
At
at
2
this, and you
o'clock.
just provide links
Yeah.
to this city.
Yeah, my fucking speed went down to
Yeah,
like
and
22.
hey, yo, my boy Pete, same thing, and then that's just a whole nother like damn, they caught us, and then boom.
Public shaming. See?
Public shame.
See? Full
There
circle.
you go. That's
About to make that app right now.
circles. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
shame that ass.
Shame that ass. Hashtag shame that ass. Damn, that was a reoccurring theme, dude.
Full
Man.
circle.
So what does it mean then? It's successful. It works, doesn't it?
It does work to a certain extent. It does. I mean, I think you went with your neighbors, shaming your damn neighbors, but I think
Yeah, the
shaming these
companies.
companies and with the social media, you can shame the shit out of them and they will
You
respond.
out it. There's
Yes.
a source for it. They can go to it. There's a record. Obviously you got to store a bunch of information to keep it going, but yeah,
There's data. Yeah.
it's proof.
Yeah, but then like I'm using this one. It's called Luma. I got Luma, and I'll say here's the reference, and now Luma has to validate and say our product does this, so we can validate that he's getting the right data off. So it's not just him saying it. our product is actually reading this, so you can't contest us. So you battling a company that's producing this data, as well as me capturing it and going from
Right.
there. So they're kind of like, oh shit, you're probably right, buddy.
But
Yeah,
But
this is not fake news. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So one last quick thing, I wanted to talk about because I always want to stay up to date on the Mueller's. I call him everything but his right name. Investigation with the FBI agents that was texting about Trump, and now they're trying to do this email thing about
Wait.
how fucked up Trump is, and they're trying to do it like a email thing with Hillary, and they said the investigation should stop because he's biased. But as soon as he found out, he dismissed him. What's your
Well,
thoughts on that?
y'all heard the article about apparently those agents involved were in a relationship or something like that.
I didn't hear about the relationship, but I know they was kind of back and forth with each other, and it was just them. It wasn't like anybody else.
Yeah. So to me, that automatically just complicates it because I'm like, so they was just having like bay talk.
Yeah.
You know, you know, Hillary be tripping. He be texting at work. You see this shit on the news.
Yeah. Oh, that motherfucker, he tripping as fuck.
Oh my god. You know what I'm saying? So on one hand, because they was talking shit about Hillary, they basically was like they felt how all Americans
Right.
felt. It was
Right.
like
They was just texting it, and I think they had it on company phones though, which was fucked
or
up.
some dumb shit. Yeah.
Dumb shit like that. Yup.
So I I see it as a non-issue, considering all the shit Trump has been talking. The firing of James Comey earlier this year, just I think the FBI just is under the scrutiny, so they're gonna make sure that they don't mess this up.
So,
If it,
but I want you to be a devil's advocate, Chaz, because I think
Yeah.
you keep with your thoughts because you got more positive and you have a lot of faith with system, but I want you to be a
Okay.
devil's advocate in the sense
I'll be a devil's
of
advocate.
it was the Republican and you saw an advantage. Do you
Okay.
think you can take it further?
All right, so let me reverse it. So if it was Obama, that's the only way I can make the analogy work.
Okay.
So let's say Obama was in office and Republicans are going after him for something I think is not real. Let's birth certificate thing. We're gonna launch an investigation. You're from Kenya, and it's like, oh, this is crazy. And then one of the people on the case turns out, oh, I'm from the Klan. We're like, aha, I knew it.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be like, if that was me and I just felt, how I imagine Trump supporters feel, I would probably say, well, let's look at the text messages of everybody. Who's to say other people don't have text messages or whatever the case? What if more people? So you can, they could probably use it for that angle, because if those are two, how do we know? How do we know people in the FBI are just aren't fucked up like that?
Yeah. Or there's an angle in the entire investigation,
Yeah,
and then we're
yeah. This
right.
is partisan. Mueller is a closet Democrat, deep,
Yeah.
supporter of whatever. So you could just there's now room to spin.
Yeah. I feel like there's always a way to do that.
Then
though.
again, dude was on The Apprentice,
Oh my God. Yes.
so it's kind of like, of course they should be talking shit. It's like, you mean I went to law school for this? And again, if they were, what? Let me search it now. So what Mueller? What was it?
It was the FBI investigators texting about Trump, some shit like that. So why are you looking that up, though,
Yeah.
E? What's your thoughts on that, man?
I mean, I don't know too much of the details with that, but it just, I feel like they got caught, and I mean, playing the devil's advocate, like you were saying, or I'm sorry, if you were a Republican looking at that, I mean, it doesn't look good at all, I mean, I mean, granted, they don't really talk too much about the Hillary part. I actually wasn't aware how much they were talking about Hillary. I just knew about how he was talking shit about Trump on those text messages, but it's easy to see how someone just looks at it and it's like, look, this whole investigation is kind of, questionable. I don't, it looks bad. That's just the fact. And then they fire them too, or
Yeah,
yeah,
he released them before it came out in the news, though.
yeah,
So they tried to come and say, "No, this is just terrible." He was like, "Look, I got rid of them. As soon
right.
as I found out, I got rid of them."
You're right.
Because it puts them in jeopardy of the investigation. That's
Yeah,
the last thing you want to do is like look like you biased
right.
because they trying to get rid of him anyway.
Right, and then they're questioning Trump, asking him, "Okay, are you gonna fire Mueller now?" That kind of thing. And I was actually surprised that he said, "No, I'm not gonna fire him." I was like, "Hmm."
But I think his lawyers know that it's going to really make you look really fucked up if you
Fire the next.
fire the guy that's investigating something that they haven't touched you yet. You know it's coming, but they haven't touched you yet because let it come to the point that we can negotiate. I think when it touches him, I think they're going to want to negotiate
Right.
instead of just saying get rid of him and then there's going to be another investigation on top of that and then he looks like he's biased of trying to hide something, then it makes it really worse.
Yeah.
But at the end of the week, the Mueller investigation supposed to sit down with Trump's lawyers at the end of this week.
Yeah, and I want to read what I
Yeah,
was
please.
referring
I'm
to
looking at
earlier.
it now.
So, the two senior FBI officials who texted each other about President Trump and Hillary Clinton relied on work phones to hide their romance from a spouse amid the Bureau's probe of Clinton's private email server the cover story for being in such close contact, according to people familiar with the matter. So this is a Washington Post. The headline is FBI officials text message about Hillary Clinton said to be cover story for
Wow.
romantic affair. So you can just, you know how it is. You talking to your girl. Oh, yeah,
your work email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your work email. And like, so code words is there. Yeah, the Hillary's email. Yeah, but
Mhm.
Yo, we gotta talk about that email server.
yeah,
At
your
7
email,
p.m.
your server is so big and
So if that's true, that automatically because
Yeah.
you just know how it is. They just
but
they
so
bullshit.
I don't think y'all took the
You know.
the devil's advocate thing to the extreme. So I'm gonna take it to the extreme
Let's go.
because I'm looking at this
Go
and
ahead.
saying, how long did he know about this? And he allowed it to go on and try to cover for it because Mueller really has a whole team that's biased against Trump. So remember what you just said. I think you said it, E. Well, I think everybody needs to be investigated on his team. I think his investigation needs to stop immediately until we know what's going on with their people because now I don't trust the bias of his team. As a
Right. Yeah.
Republican, I would go after them in that way to get them to stop investigating. But here's the catch to that. I think the Republicans want them to investigate his ass. So they really don't give a damn. So only his office is really saying this is fucked up. The Republicans is
Yeah,
like, look, I hope you'll
because, you
find
know-
something to get this bastard out of here.
Yeah.
After the tax thing, yeah. I feel like this is what they wanted, and once that's done, then they'll be like, "All right, we're good."
Yeah, now we good
We can
because
get 'em out.
anything outside of that, we're not building no wall. I really don't want to go to war with North Korea.
I forgot about the wall.
Yeah. And then the UN really saying we're not moving, we're not for this Jerusalem move because that's bullshit. Because we didn't even mention that. And I just really thought that's causing a whole nother stir in the world. Not just in the Middle East, but in the freaking world. And,
Trump don't care.
he doesn't care because, someone told him, hey, look, the Jews got to be taken care of so you can go to heaven. You know what I mean? That's that evangelical, theory that once all the Jews die in one place, all the true Christians can go to heaven. But the Jews got to be in the sacred land and, God will kill all of them and then everybody will be fine. Some shit like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Right. I don't even think it's that deep. I think Trump just You know, that's what his voters want. They just, or he's just trying to take the side of Israel, and then
because he don't like Muslims.
yeah, or because the well that's true, and they hated Obama, like,
Yeah,
and
that too.
then
Yeah, the Jerusalem. Yeah,
I forget his name. The
Netanyahu.
yeah. Yeah, like he disrespected Obama like on a regular basis to the point that you damn near might as well just call him a Republican.
Yeah,
So
because he was all for get that black dude out of
Mhm.
here. You know,
yeah,
he's one of those like could be from South Africa or some shit.
yeah,
But yeah, so I just the email thing I thought was kind of interesting because it wasn't gaining traction like I thought it was going to, but I knew it really probably wouldn't be because the Republicans really don't want to make a big deal out of it because whatever the Mueller investigation is doing, they really want them to try to clean up a lot of things, and if it can get Trump out of there, it's going to make their life a little easier because they still got the majority in Congress
right. For now,
for now.
yeah.
Yeah.
For now.
So, what else y'all got, guys? I wanted to break it up in these two because the net neutrality thing, I'm really. I mean, you brought some good points up, Ito. I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't think about it that way. I didn't because I'm just pissed off that again, businesses they always giving the businesses the advantages and shit.
That's what I'm saying. So if you just for what he's arguing, you just change it from a regulatory perspective, and then let them get the faster speeds, but at the same time not shafting everybody. It's like one extreme or
Right.
the other. You know what I'm saying? We'll give you the bailout, but
Yeah,
you lose your house. Well, like damn.
yeah. But one of the key parts though is you're assuming that all of them are gonna just like start doing that though. So I mean, we can't just assume they're all gonna just start slowing down your internet. You can because it's business. I get that.
But I don't think it'll be 100%. I
No,
don't think 100% is what really is going to happen.
Yeah.
But the percentage that will probably affect the people who really can't afford it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Look, I just have no reason to be distrustful. I mean, just to trust AT&T. Let's go back to first iPhone. First they had the unlimited data. Then once you got grandfathered in, they broke it up into we'll make more money if you do X amount of megabytes, gigabytes, this and that. And then once everyone else caught up, and the low cost carriers, Metro, PCS, and others started doing unlimited everything, then it went back the other way, where unlimited is now the standard. So there's just always these valleys of we're gonna shaft you for as long as we can until we can't.
But it's competition.
And I just
so what you
that's just part of the game.
You illustrated the free market to say I gotta beat the next guy. I mean, think about it. AT&T started. They was exclusive with the iPhone.
Apple.
With Apple.
And then iPhone went to everybody, and then the market just evolved.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume they're out to shaft me. I'm
Believe
like a
it.
black
Yeah,
dude.
Just have faith in that.
I'm like a black dude in the '70s. It's like y'all crackers don't kill me.
Crackers, the man is gonna after me. The man.
I might have to edit that out, but
I mean, you don't have a. I mean, there's no argument there. I mean, that's business, man. I mean, you got to accept business at some point. Like, let them compete and then see what happens.
Okay, so what does it mean to run a business? Is it about purely
Yes.
Profit
Yes.
maximization? There can't be no other variables or metrics.
I mean,
for
success is one thing. I mean, you can still have a nonprofit. You can volunteer and do things, and I can give out free internet if I had the money to build all that.
I guess what I'm like, what's the difference between 12 billion and 10 billion in profits?
It's, what I'm charging Netflix.
Yeah. 2 billion. One
know
less
what I'm saying?
Learjet.
Yeah.
No, but so let's go with cars. So when electric cars first came out, there were a lot of them that was over $50,000. And they said people won't buy electric cars because they cost too much money. And then all of a sudden they were going down slightly, and then they went to hybrids and not electric because it was affecting the business of the oil companies. And then when Tesla said, you know what, I'm going to have a car that can go as fast as all of the other cars, and I'm going to make it less, and I'm going to make it more than 50 miles per charge. So
Right.
you can make money and do things at a lower rate and still make a profit and still
Right.
say it's best for the consumer and even the country.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Yeah, like you change your metrics, because Tesla at some point said, "Fuck it, we'll release some of our patents, catch up." You know what I'm saying? Because the more,
Because he wants everyone to be able to do that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's the more. So if Apple says more smart, they release patents, then it's like the more people start buying phones and start doing that, that's just gonna make it better for them. As some, it's just more people are now going to be attracted to the technology. More people are going to
Yep.
start doing that. So in the end, they're going to still make money.
Right.
So that is just, with net neutrality, I'm not going to sit here and act like I understand each piece.
Neither am I.
It's a very complex thing. There's valid arguments, I think, on both sides, but to unequivocally say it's just like the tax situation. To basically say we're gonna basically give corporations a windfall from 37 or 35% to 21%. That's a windfall. And it's like, oh well,
And it was going to be lower than that.
Oh.
They actually raised it back up to 21%.
oh, okay. So
Yeah, it was supposed to be lower than that.
so it's like, hey, there's not gonna be trickle down again. It's like, what evidence? It's just, so what evidence of, I mean, there's just, so I always look at something as incentive. So Comcast has all the incentive to either, put caps on people so people will stream less, to charge Netflix more, or to charge consumers more. So here's the thing. Here's why I started really beefing with Comcast. Comcast will say, well, you can't stream, but if you stream through their service, that doesn't go against your data cap.
Yep.
So it's like, wait, so you mean to tell me if everyone streams at once, well, as long as it's through your service, it's fine. The infrastructure can handle that, but there's no excuse when it's through yours. So it's kind of like, nah, I'm not with that.
Well, yeah. I don't have an argument with that.
Basically,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying
what-
fuck them is what I'm saying.
See, that's what. Yeah.
Fuck them all.
See, I don't
Fuck 'em.
have an argument. I mean, if you're stuck with, if you don't have an option, look. All you can do is get Comcast in that apartment complex, or whatever you're at. Then that's the problem with, people that don't have the option to switch. There are, So I hear that. I mean, unless
Yeah.
there's some brand new way, a Tesla version that you could somehow create the internet in your home. That's what's next.
It's gonna be wirelessly. I think it's gonna be some sort of wireless capability,
Yeah.
mobile, interact with our phones.
And
something
what's
to that
the
effect.
issue with that? Because if you, what's it called, tethering? If you use your phone or some kind of wireless way to pull internet, I mean, well, we're talking about the LTE and all that. It's the issue is speeds.
Mm-hmm.
There just isn't anything that has.
I think 5G
Mm-hmm.
mobile hotspots. That we may be to a point to where that can be as good as a
that's
modem.
what I mean. We're
And-
talking speeds, right?
So my AT&T mobile hotspot is great because when I'm going somewhere, I could connect my my MacBook and sometimes both my MacBook and my iPad
Right.
from my phone, and the speed is great. I have no issue. It's not like slowing down. Let me take my time because it's I'm hotspotting off. No, it's just like I'm totally on the internet without a problem.
That's fine, but I personally am more of a fan of a dedicated mobile hotspot, especially if it has Ethernet, so I can plug directly into it and have a more secure connection.
Oh, so you want more secure? I got you.
Yeah, so I have that Ethernet, so it's like, okay, when I say secured, meaning like in terms of speeds, more like stable.
You want the landline.
So,
Like
Yeah. So
continuous. You want that continuous.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they just all they got to do is manufacture some small device,
Yeah.
5G capability. Once that's ready to roll
They
out,
got that.
I think that's going to
It's
be a
already.
big solution. Yeah, you add it, and I think what we're going to see are the carriers be the big winners. But will T-Mobile say, I don't want you to be
Right.
streaming
Or hold
YouTube
up.
all
Or
day, or
Netflix is like,
you know,
hey, you're on that network. You can't.
hmm
We're not available on Comcast network. I'm just throwing it around. They can start doing it, but they don't have the
hmm
leverage right now, so you can't do something like that.
Yeah, not. But
yeah,
Netflix just went up on their costs because, again, the more cost that they're spending to have the content they want to see, then they said we
Yeah.
have to increase. And the good thing about Netflix is the better stuff that comes out on it, the small incremental increase, it doesn't hurt as badly. You know what I mean? Unless you trying to say, especially if you cut the cable, you kind of need your damn Netflix. Netflix really has the best quality of streaming out of the other
That's true.
services that's out there. And I'm not a big fan of the Amazon stuff. And Hulu is more TV shows. And, half of the time I like to binge on those, so it doesn't really matter. But Netflix can leverage some things, but I don't think they in the position to do, that ISP, just like you said.
Right.
I don't think they can be a provider. I don't think they have that much money stacked so
Yeah.
they can do that.
Yeah, they're about content.
Yep. So they're a content provider. So thanks for tuning in to Repo, Rethink Politics, and we'll see you next time. And stay tuned. Later.